So we now return to the GT750 engine after a period of long inactivity for reasons that I'll delve into in another video shortly. But today we'll be starting off with installing the rotor for the alternator that this bike uses, which is a massive thing. Looks like it belongs on a car. It's simply huge. And we'll be attaching that onto the engine. And then hopefully we'll also get the starter clutch put onto the other side. So let's begin. I didn't actually take this off of the engine. My machinist pulled this off when he rebuilt the crankshaft here. So what we have is a large iron core and a pair of slip rings, as you can see here, very similar to that of a automotive alternator. It's just held onto the conical shaft here by friction alone. There's no key or anything like that. It's not needed because this isn't really a torqued part. He was also nice enough to give it a lick of paint. Not that you're ever going to see it, but it just shows the quality of the kind of work he does. So, theoretically, just be able to do that and slide the nut on there. We'll grab ourselves what appears to be a 13 or 14 mil wrench and we'll snug that down. So from what I've gathered, we set this thing to about 15 foot-pounds. So 10, 15. Let's see if we can actually torque this one without having the engine locked, which again might be our challenge. I might need something to hold this. A strap wrench may be the solution here. Yet again, if I were to do all of this again, I wouldn't put the head and the cylinders on until I had the bottom end, like the starter clutch, the clutch, everything else in it first, so I could lock off the crank by putting a bar or something through the connecting rod ends to hold it solid. That would make all of this way easier. But, you know, live and learn. So I'm going to grab a strap wrench for this. Now we're only talking about 15 or so foot-pounds here. So it shouldn't be too difficult. Hopefully, to lock this off. In fact, there it is. 15 foot-pounds. That's all there is to that. Now let's see about getting the alternator on there. Why not? I'll go see if I can dig that up. So we have here our well-worn alternator. This I haven't bothered to clean up, mostly because it's going to be inside an engine case and you're never going to see it. So let's just go over here and make sure that it's going to be serviceable. Brushes are, well, they've seen better days, frankly. This one particularly is a little beat up. But there's not really a large electrical load on this motorcycle, being that it's from, you know, 75. And then it's a two-stroke. Not that that really makes much of a difference, but I'm not quite sure what locks in the brushes. One of them here is loose, you can see from the from its holder. One in behind it, if I can get you in shot there, still in its holder, moves freely. Doesn't seem to want to come out any further though, which is interesting. I'm not sure what's preventing that. Shouldn't be an issue though, I don't think. But let's see if it slides on there. Just like that. Like it was meant to fit. I'm probably going to have to replace that brush. It's not making the best of contact, really. But like I said, we'll have to see. I'm going to go find the bolts to hold this in, and we'll snug those together. Screws. So I have no memory of what these screws were like condition-wise when I took them off. Like everything else, it appears they're a little bit rusted. Nothing a quick wire wheel won't fix. Just to clean the threads up more than anything. And then we'll throw it back together there. Soon I'll have a better setup for doing all of this sort of work. New workshop is coming. I have to move stuff around like this all the time. Alright, so now that we got them all cleaned up nicely, let's drive them home. There we go. The one screw I am going to have a quick look at here is the one on the brush holder here that has the ground attached to it. Just want to make sure it's clean. That way I don't have to open it up again later. It's not bad, but I think we can get that a little bit cleaner. Just going to take a little bit of Scotch-Brite to it. Emery cloth would probably work just fine as well if you had some. That'll do. Clean enough. There we go. Now just tuck the wire back in underneath. Little rubber piece here seals between the crankcase and the alternator cover. And I'd say we're ready for a gasket and a cover. Go on over that. Go dig that up. Oh, one nice and shiny alternator cover. Ah yes. It's so nice when they start coming together. So now we'll dig up the gasket for that guy. So, gasket would appear to be this one. I would hope. Theoretically. There we go. Beautiful. Just leaves the bolts for it, which I can't remember where I put them. Be right back. So after what seems probably like mere seconds of digging to all of those in the magic world of video editing, we found our bag of bolts. GT750. In case, of course, you hadn't clued in that this was a GT750 after however many episodes we've been on here. So, let's look up what we're after. Generator cover. Bag K. Bag K. Generator cover. This is an excellent kit. I bought it off of eBay. No complaints. Extremely organized. So, now of course, there we go. So, gasket. That back on here, whichever way around it happens to go. That way. Pop through a couple of the nice new Allen bolts to get our gasket lined up. Grab my Allen key. Snug them all down. Of course, not going super tight. Just snug enough to press the gasket slightly and keep the rain out. Not that I plan on riding in the rain, but you know, it happens. There we go. One more cover on. One step closer. That's a beautiful connector, isn't it? Probably gonna replace that with, well, virtually anything would be better. But that's a task for another day when I wire this sucker back together. That'll be a fun afternoon, week, year, you know.